Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good evening, Mr. Speaker. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Speaker, would the Representative Stone yield for a few questions?
Will Representative Stone yield?
I will.
You're in order.
Thank you, Representative Stone. So I think we cleared up in committee. I'd asked you about the independent contractor provision, where you had initially indicated that independent contractors who are fired for refusing to take a COVID vaccine would be eligible for unemployment compensation. I was excited about that. Got a huge independent contractor workforce. Sounds like now you're saying you asked someone and they're telling you, no, that was incorrect. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So that was a good thing to clarify. So a couple of other questions. You said in your opening that this was about protecting Iowa jobs. So let me ask you this. Under this bill, employers can still impose vaccine mandates, correct?
That's correct.
And under the bill, even if an employee presents an employer with a statement that indicates that receiving the vaccine would be injurious to the health and well-being of the employee or an individual residing with the employee, that employer can still fire that employee for refusing to get a vaccine, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So this bill doesn't do anything to protect the jobs of Iowans who refuse to get a vaccine. Is that correct?
That's not correct.
Okay. Well, thank you. You can explain that in your closing arguments. I won't ask you any more questions. I will just say that if, and this is just a fact, folks, and I think this is why we heard so much opposition from people who do not think they should be required to take a vaccine in order to keep their job. It's because just like this bill does not allow independent contractors to get unemployment compensation if they refuse a vaccine, it doesn't protect the job of a single Iowan who refuses to comply with a vaccine mandate. All it does is say that they remain eligible for unemployment compensation benefits. And that's good, because I do think that the vast majority of these people want to work, they want to keep their job, and if they end up getting fired because they won't get a vaccine, I want people to be able to feed their children and pay their bills and contribute to their local economy. But let's not pretend that this does thing one to protect anybody's jobs, because it just doesn't. I saw an amendment that got withdrawn that would have done that, but we didn't even hear about that in committee. I don't know why. I think perhaps, well, whatever. We didn't hear about that. Instead, we have a bill that's being touted as somehow protecting the jobs of Iowans who do not want to get vaccinated, and it doesn't do that. It creates a waiver system that is much more lenient than the current one, but there is no penalty for employers who fire someone anyhow, other than some vague discussion about it may down the road impact their unemployment compensation classification and the amount they may have to apply to the fund going forward. But it doesn't say, hey, you're going to have to rehire that employer and you will get fined a whole bunch of money for firing that employee in the first place. It doesn't forbid them from firing anybody who refuses a vaccine. So if I'm wrong, if there are penalties in this bill that punish employers who fire employees who refuse to get a vaccine, then please spell that out for us, because I feel like that's what's being said. We heard from people in committee today who read the bill and who know that's not in the bill. What is in the bill is something ensuring that these people will get unemployment compensation. So that's a good thing, but that's not what they were asking for, and I don't want them being told that they're getting what they were asking for when, as far as I can tell, they absolutely are not. Thank you.